and welcome to Dewdrops. I am so excited to be able to share this technique with you today. So let's get into it. As we start out here, you're going to notice that there's the mold, which I will put in the description, so that's not a problem. You need 3mm wire. I just use craft wire, flat. Need a needle nose pliers, flush cutters, and possibly the bent nose. They're always great to have in case you need 2 pliers. So what we're going to first do is, and I've already started some of this of bending of the wire, but I just wanted to show you with a small piece how we do it. You're going to be making a zigzag pattern, just bending back and forth. That's it. One direction one way, another direction the other way. And you just do the whole thing. And I did a bunch of pieces already. On certain projects, I don't like doing all my wire work in the beginning. But things like this, which I know I'm going to need the same type of wire no matter what, I go ahead and do it. It just preps it, and it preps it for other things that I might want to use it for too. So after I get it all bent, I'm just going to put it aside till it's time to make the framework. Right now we are going to be making a couple of tinier squares. And we're going to put some flowers in them. And as you will notice here, I cut off all the stems, and that's really important. You really don't want your stems sticking out. You need it to be a very flat surface, because you're going to want to be able to put it into your other mold or the other squares, and it not being taller than that. And I think these molds are about 4mm deep, but I'm not 100% positive. I didn't measure it. I just know by the wire it's a little bit taller than the wire, and that's 3mm. So we're going to put resin in there to start with, just to have a base. But we're also going to use a little cup here that I put resin in, and I'm going to dunk my flowers, and I'm going to prepare them to be put into the mold. Doing this helps with some of the bubbles, not all, but most. And when you put it in the mold, you're going to want to flatten them. So I just use the side of my tweezers, and I do that way to flatten them. So you'll see what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna let you finish watching this part of the process, and I will be back when it's time to do the framework. See you soon. We are at the next little process with this that I almost forgot about. When you are making these little squares, you will see that I have a mold that's clear. One side is flat, obviously, and the other side's had the holes. I put the flat side on it and press, and then cure it. That way you know for sure it's going to fit. So we're going to continue on here. And I wanted to make sure I shared that with you. Everything else will be pretty self-explanatory until we get to the framework. See ya soon. We're now finishing up with this little squares. We put those in, and now we're going to work on our framework. I just kind of bend my wire, make a shape that is pleasing to me, and I put it in the middle. It's very small. You don't need a big piece. And then you just start putting the framework together. You'll be cutting and bending and straightening and doing whatever is needed to get the pieces in there. And the worst that happens, you have to cut it again or cut a new piece. Happens to me all the time. But just enjoy the process, and I'm gonna put some music back on for you and let you watch the rest of the process and how it goes. See you soon. Now that we're done with our framework, we are getting on to my most favorite part. That's laying down the color. Your resin needs to be sticky, whether it's by using gilding adhesive, tack it over and over, or just do a flash cure with your resin so it's sticky. That's up to you on how you want to do that, but this is how I do it. I lay my color down after I put some type of glue that dries sticky on my piece, just where I want the color to stick really well. So I'm going to be using Let's Resin Intense Color Chameleon Flakes. I love those. The chrome powder. And the chameleon powder. I love combining these. So what we do after the glue dries, you take your intense chameleon flakes and you spread them. You don't want to do it heavy because the intense colors are very, very strong. So you use it sparingly, as you can tell. Then I just start layering colors that I want on there. This is the teal, and then that's the hot pink from the intense colors. And you see, I just use just a little, just to add a little bit to it, because you don't want to cover up all your sticky areas. So I'm going to let you watch the rest of this process. And before I forget, if you know how to use UV resin, you do know that you need to cure it in between each layer. I have not shown that because I just was trying to help with time constraints, because people don't have a lot of time, so I didn't want to just constantly show that. But UV resin has to be cured after each layer. So I'm burnishing in, and you can watch the process of what I do here and how I put it back on. It is all pretty self-explanatory as you watch it. If you have questions, do not hesitate. I have no problem answering the questions. So enjoy, and I will see you at the end of this process. This is my second favorite, is doing the embellishments. I like to use little caviar beads, and they're so awesome to use because they just fit in so many little spots, and you can build them up into shapes. Gives a lot of texture to your piece. But I like to put them in the middle, and then I also like to spread a few throughout, but you don't want it too symmetric. You just want to kind of keep it kind of natural or organic, I guess you'd want to say. And by doing that, it doesn't take away from the piece, it adds to it. And then I also use glitter. After I cure it, I put another layer of resin on, and then I add glitter, and I add the minutest amount, the smallest amount possible, because glitter can be your best friend or your worst enemy in your resin pieces. You don't want it to take over, and unfortunately glitter has a tendency to do that. So after I do this layer here, I'm going to be putting some glitter on, and you're going to see the brush how there's just the smallest amount. So I'm going to let this finish playing out. It's all pretty self-explanatory. I know I keep saying that, but I think you will be able to learn better by watching than me talking. If not, ask questions. So I will see you when this is done. here we are at the end again. And what a beautiful piece this has turned out to be. I have really enjoyed doing this with you guys. And I hope you were inspired. Inspiration is my greatest goal with each and every one of you. And I hope you enjoyed it. I had a great time. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I will see you soon.